COVID-19 pandemic has put a halt to a lot of things. But if we believe that there will be a return to business as normal for airlines, then we have to believe that we need to keep the human supply chain of pilots rolling along. And that's certainly the view of the UK training academy, Skyborne. We're joined by the Chief Executive, Lee Woodward, and the Chief Operating Officer, Ian Cooper, both experienced airline captains. Gentlemen, welcome to the programme. So Lee, can I start by asking you, what went through your mind when the lockdown began and you had to start sending your cadets home?
Well, the first thing is obviously to follow the government guidelines. I don't mean that churlishly, I mean that seriously. Ian and I reviewed the guidelines in Spain, where we had trainees training, here in the UK and in the United States. And as you can appreciate, it was different everywhere. So yeah, taking expert advice and following those guidelines rigidly was our immediate reaction.
So how did you come up with the idea of this virtual training?
Well, simply put, the training of pilots breaks down really into two components. You've got the practical training in the aeroplane and the simulator, and you've got ground-based, classroom-based training. Due to the social distancing requirements, we couldn't train in the aircraft and sim. However, we could continue to train the theory in the classroom if we use a virtual system. And that's what we did. So Ian and the team got together, devised the system within a week or so, and got UK CAA approval within 24 hours, and it was up and running the following week.
Ian, can you just explain how the structure works with the cadets and also getting the CAA approval within a week? I mean, that's something of an achievement.
For the sort of regulatory part of it, you have to do 750 hours of classroom-based tuition for the ATPL subjects. So we basically replaced that by doing remote learning through our virtual airline training platform. So the way that sort of works is you have 1 hour classes, but they're broken down into 20-minute sessions, because we found that the pace is a lot faster than an instructor classroom-based session. Reasons for that is you don't have the sort of body language feedback that you'd normally get in a classroom-based situation. So we realised that at an early stage, tailored the course timeline to meet that. And then we also put together one-to-one work groups, so that at the end of the day, each individual would sit with their instructor and go through question and answer sessions, work through worksheets that we'd put on a Google Classroom. And that worked really well. So we put the whole package together and put to the CAA what our sort of mitigation plans were for any downside that we saw. And they were very responsive, to their credit, and we received approval actually within 24 hours.
Lee, today the airlines are laying people off. They're halting their internal training. And we're getting airlines like Lufthansa talking about being another 2 years before they really get back to 2019 levels. How do you see that future then for the young people that you're currently training?
Look, Alan, there's no doubt it's a challenging time. Aviation tends to be one of the first industries, into potentially recessions, but plus side of that is one of the first industries out. I just go back 4 months or so ago, back to November, maybe 5 months November time, and the industry was booming. So yes, over the last few years, we've lost airlines like Monarch, Thomas Cook, and latterly Flybe, but nothing to do with COVID. To do with the businesses themselves. So go back to November last year, the industry was booming. I truly believe we'll end up back there. We're going to have to pull ourselves out of this situation. We will do. It may take a year to 18 months, in some territories perhaps a little bit longer, but it will return, and the business, I think, will be buoyant again. For youngsters, boys and girls looking at coming into the career, it's still attractive. It's still a fantastic job. Flying airliners around the world is still a terrific career, and it will be once again once we pull out of this. Our job in Skyborne is to make sure that we adapt, that we remain flexible, and that we are in position once and when the industry returns to normal to continue as usual.
Ian, can you tell me, do you think training systems are going to adjust when we come out of this? There's got to be something good coming out of this whole thing. Maybe it's perhaps doing more with online training.
I think it will be business as usual, as Lee mentions when we come back. But I think the training will be enhanced as as a result of what we've learned in this period. So, technologies have been rapidly used to enhance the virtual classrooms. And I think there's an element of that can be fed back in to the training going forward that will add value to the training, and really enhance the package. I mean, one thing I hadn't mentioned earlier was the fact that our cadets have been so resilient to this change. And it's always something we look for in our cadets when we do the recruitment. And they've really demonstrated their resilience, because for a lot of them, this is their sort of first life events that's happened for them. So it's been a credit to the way they've adapted using these new technologies. So I definitely think there's room for that in the future.